To install the Stage 1 Retaliator kit, first remove all of your screws and set them aside. Do not lose these. To do that, you will need a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, remove the gray back cap and gently pry your shell apart. Don't lose the spring and the accessory tooth. They do have a tendency to shoot out when you split the blaster. So set those aside. And don't forget the extra dart retainer that sits in the handle. Now this is a very simple kit to install. It's one of the easier kits to install. Step 1, remove your stock spring and set that aside. Then remove the stock trigger catch. Take your Stage 1 metal trigger catch and one of the trigger catch springs. When you put the spring on, seat it fully past the retention teeth, and to do that, you just twist and it will screw on, like so. And the nice thing about that is it will not shoot off during installation. So, without touching any of the other internals, unless of course you want to remove any locks, just take your trigger catch, lift the plunger, slide underneath, pop it in, and at this point you can close up your blaster. Make sure everything lines up. Don't forget the accessory tooth. There. And then take your 5 kilogram spring, split the rear of the blaster, and it will slide right in. And then take your finger and seat it past the plastic on the inside of the shell. So make sure it's in all the way and not sticking out. Don't forget the extra dart retainer. At this point, if you choose to install the reinforcement plate, take note that it only goes in one way. This is not actually square, it's a trapezoid, so if you try to force this in at the incorrect orientation, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting it out. It'll sit like that. Just notice how it's not completely seated against the back there. It's sort of resting up on this screw hole. You just take your finger, pop it down, and it won't come out. But you can easily remove it if you choose to. So at this point, take your back cap, seat it. Because there is now a metal retention plate, just notice that the gray plastic of the back cap will not completely touch the shell of the blaster. There'll be a reinforcement plate thickness gap right there, so that's fine. These screws will still seat. So I'm going to pause the camera and put all the screws back in. Okay, so this blaster is entirely put together. Just take note that the 2 screws that hold the back cap on are slightly larger than the rest of the screws, and just like the Recon, this screw is about twice as long as the other screws, but the rest of them are all the same size. So at this point, it's time for a test fire. Some Elite darts and some standard streamlines. This is one of the most powerful production blasters out there right now. The direct plunger system inside the Retaliator is fantastic, and you'll be very impressed with the power once the kit is installed. Also, we have found that you do not need to remove the air restrictor, which simplifies the process even further. All you do is just replace the spring and the trigger catch and you're good to go. You can remove the air restrictor, but the performance gains are negligible. So let's test it out. Alright, looks good. So I hope you enjoyed the video.